So BTC is up 5% from the lows after that mega dump in the last, in the last 24 hours. They came and absolutely smashed us. But was that the bottom? So I'm going to show you why I don't think that's the potential bottom of the move, even though we're getting a nice pump. But if it turns out that that was the bottom, I'm going to give you a trading plan as to how to get out of this and how to trade this level by level. So stick around. We're covering BTC, the big move. We're covering these altcoins that are absolutely tearing at the moment, including things like Popcat seems to be melting faces. So lots to talk about here. It's Friday. Bull market's back. Let's get right into this. Remember, as always, if you're enjoying the content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and hit that bell, and keep Uncle Ray happy in the back. And you know what? We got a 5% move, guys. It's got to cheer us up. We got to be a little bit more cheery. I see J-Dog is saying trap, trap, trap. Look, guys, it feels very trappy. Okay, this was a long overdue bounce that we should have actually got yesterday, and all they did was give us a few percent, sent us back to hell, and now they're giving the bounce that we were looking for. So we're going to tread this cautiously. I'm going to give you a trading plan for some of these altcoins. I'm going to tell you how to look out for some of the dangers that potentially lie ahead. But look at this. 𝗔𝗫𝗆𝗔𝗡 has come out of its grave, 9% up today. And I mean, this is now the daily on Banter Bubble. So, I mean, it's not taking into account the last move of the last couple of hours. So for 𝗔𝗫𝗆𝗔 to be up 9%, is pretty impressive. DYDX, I'm in a DYDX long. Look at that on the right-hand side, 4% up. I'm going to tell you why I was long there. And I'm going to show you that current trade as well. And look, all around misery, but this was a lot worse about 8 or 10 hours ago. And I mean, this is essentially what I was looking like at this exact time about 12 hours ago. This was me, Ray. I don't know if you felt like that, but if you haven't been liquidated, or you haven't been liquidated or stopped out or something in the last 24 hours, you're doing it wrong. Are you even a trader if that hasn't happened to you guys? So yeah, guys, it's been absolutely wild out there. And let's just look at, this is what I've done. I've gone into the 15-minute candles. I've gone full degen for you guys because of the size of this dump. We didn't have much data to work with here. Come on. There's our bull. There's our bull. And right now we're looking at a couple of key levels. So we've obviously had this huge pump out of BTC, but now we need to be cautious. Now we got to play this, very smart. So right now we are pushing into a resistance band currently on BTC. Why is this resistance for me on the 15 minutes? Well, this is a big 618 pull, and it's also a horizontal, and 56,725. So we know this is resistance zone number one. This is where the bears are looking for shorts. This is where there is going to be a little bit of action in this area, and you can see the way this candle is stopping right now. This is a potential resistance zone. So exercising caution here with BTC. And what happens now? When do we turn more bullish? Well, number one, we've got to blow through this big area now. When we reclaim this as support, then we can start cooking again on the 15 minutes. So our next big band is going to be 58,480. So right now we've hit target number one, and that's 56,725. In fact, I'm going to close my BTC long right now. This is my second scalp of the day here, and let's just grab this one quickly. I'm just going to close this here on Prime XBT. So, okay, that one is now closed. And I have AVAX left running on Prime XBT. So I've closed that because we are at a resistance band, not because I'm turning, super bearish on the current situation, because I think we might get a little bit more energy out of the markets before they reverse us and send us to hell. But remember, in these type of situations, you want to be disciplined. You want to TP at decent areas. You want to be banking profits. There's nothing worse than a round trip, especially after the last 2 or 3 days where we've had absolute abuse from these guys. And now, it's nice to be back on the map, take a little bit of profits wherever you can. So the next plan for me, or the next trade for me, push up to 56,700, reclaimed 56,700. Then there could be another scalp here for me on BTC, and then a short-term target, 58,400. Now, we're going to get into the dailies and things like that shortly, where we're going to look at some bigger moves. But with regards to this, on the downside, I'm looking at 54,800. Okay, that's a nice little level there. And then obviously a retest of the lows. We can't say that's not out of the equation, 53,500. So both of these areas are feasible zones that can easily come and get hit. Now remember, this Mt. Gox situation hasn't gone away. The Germans haven't gone away. Nothing has changed here. other than maybe the market realizing they just panicked a little bit. And now they are buying things back because it feels cheap. We also had the US market closed yesterday. So there was a lot happening there. And just a note here from Milky Bull Crypto. Bitcoin has just experienced a huge long liquidation for the first time since the FTX Black Swan, which marked the macro bottom back then. Now, November 22, that was an absolute nightmare. And I remember that one pretty clearly. But we are now at the second most or the second highest liquidation level. So, that is quite a strong sign that we might have some kind of short-term bottom here at the moment. So the next one I want to look at is Ali Charts. He's just telling us, look, a little bit bearish here, but capital continues to exit the crypto market. It's dropped from 110 billion in March to 20 billion today. Now, remember, in March was the peak of that altcoin bull run that we had. I mean, we had Sol pushing 200. We had AVAX pushing, 55, 60, things like that. So naturally, these things are coming down. But it is, it is notable. The funds are exiting the market. And Don Crypto Trades just highlighting again that the transfers have begun on the Mt. Gox situation. And he's just reminding us, rocky road ahead. But after the supply overhang is cleared, that's great for the space in the long run. Now, remember, we just got to get through some of the FUD on this Mt. Gox stuff and, some of those sales. When the market actually understands that it's not as bad as everyone says it is, then I think we're going to start churning higher again. And I see Mia's enjoying my black again today. Yeah, guys, I mean, I'm allergic to wearing colored clothes. I hope you enjoyed that shirt that I wore for you guys. And Cointelegraph just warning, they're actually just noting what 𝗃𝗵𝗚𝗏 is saying here. He suspects that they're going to sell the whole bag of these Mt. Gox $8 billion. So, look, mixed sentiment out there, mixed opinions. It is what it is. We're going to have to just see how this is going to play out. But we got some guys saying, hang on, they're not going to sell too much because they're investors and they love crypto. Other guys are saying, well, fuck this. They've waited so long. They're just going to dump their bag. So it remains to be seen, but sentiment will change. The minute we've seen that a lot of these clips have been sold and things like that are starting to move out of the picture, then we can start picking up again. But, the Mt. Gox stuff just doesn't stop. I mean, this was this morning, 7:30 a.m. my time, another 1,500 BTC getting shifted around. So this isn't going away anytime soon. And Whale Panda summed this up so beautifully. He said, Mt. Gox is like that obsessive ex you're trying to get over with that took most of your stuff. And as soon as you're starting to move on, they randomly DM you and pull you straight back in. Now, we've all been there. We've all experienced that. And then some bullish news out of the US, if you've been wondering why the S&P has been absolutely ripping and the unemployment rate rises. So, funnily enough, that's actually bullish for the S&P. And the S&P is obviously loving it. 5,551 all-time high pinged again. And this thing, there's no stopping this other than the 618 pool that I've got here for you guys. So I'm going to give you that target one more time. And what you do is you pull from the high to the low, and then you pull out your 1.618 fib. And that is going to give you some kind of target. Let's get our 2.618 fib out. There it is. And we're looking at 5,760 as a potential move here at the moment for the S&P that we are looking at tracking towards. So that thing is absolutely firing. Wouldn't it be lovely if they brought it back into crypto? And then our one-day liquidation map, now this is back on track. So, they wiped out everyone, but everyone's back again. We're all gearing up the leverage and we are firing it off. And we can see the longs and the shorts are tied in nicely together at the moment. Let's just take a look at that 30-day. I'm pretty sure we are absolutely rinsed there. Any bulls are rinsed out. And you can see that the shorts are far outweighing the longs. And the most fun looks to me like a trip to 68K. That could happen relatively easily. And it looks like we got $12 billion worth of shorts there that could get taken out. I see the trader dad says he wishes Mt. Gox would go away. Who else is hanging out here? And guys, who enjoyed that? Who enjoyed that absolute dump overnight? I mean, we had some green positions yesterday. They were looking good. And then they came and they took...
I enjoyed it very much. It was very relaxing.
It was quite relaxing, right? I agree with you. I agree.
Extremely juicy.
So let's see who is sitting here in the chats. What's going on out here? Where's my people? Are you guys still alive? Because I also took a few blows there. It wasn't very pleasant. I see Kevin says he's had a rough few days. Glenn Goldberg's here. Glenn, we hit your level. You're 59,850, but we hit that pretty hard because they sent us quite a lot deeper there. And Mags is in the house. Mags Magoo is here sitting with us, and Claudine's talking about round round trips here. And Ivan says, I'm cooking, guys. We're always cooking. There's always something cooking. And Jenny says the stock market is going down at the moment. Well, I mean, the chart that I looked at there looked okay to me. It looks like it was moving quite nicely there. And guys, just keep some tokens flowing here. I've got tons to show you today. But again, if we can pick up a couple of tokens here for you, we can start looking at some of them. And I see Kyle's in the chats here as well. What's happening? Okay, and then remember, drop your tokens after the show. It makes it really simple for me. I'm doing a show on Sunday on the main channel again. So drop your tokens on the show now after the show. Drop them in the comments so that I can prep one or two of them for the show on Sunday. So let's keep it very simple here for you guys. Okay, let's get into some of the charts. Let's go. Okay. We're getting into the charts. I just got some more info for you. Just a reminder, okay? Put things into perspective. Current pullback would still be relatively minor in previous cycles, okay? So we're roughly 25% down on this bull market pullback. And if you take a look at Joel's charts, you can see we are actually roughly, you know, things seem okay. 25%, 22%, 22%. So 25, a little bit extreme. But again, it's not the end of the world. If we have to be totally reasonable and rational, that 25% seems okay. I just wanted to remind you guys, 𝗘𝗫𝗟 is still sending us to 38,000. And that is, look, it is possible. Nothing's not possible in crypto. But just remember, he's turned super bearish at 38K. Is that a bottom signal? And then 𝗘𝗫𝗟𝗏, bro. He's sending us to 38. He was sending us to 38. Ali Charts just reminding us 21,000 BTC valued at more than 1.2 billion has been sent to exchanges. Now, remember, we like BTC when it's not on an exchanges because the risk of being sold is a lot lower. When they're putting on an exchanges, we need to just be a little bit cautious and understand what is going down. And then Milky Bull Crypto just giving us another example and just telling us, guys, hang in there, okay? Hang in there. We are nearly there. The bottom could be in relatively soon. And we've been saying that for quite a few weeks, but you know, there's a lot of data telling us that we are moving to that point. Now, the sad state of affairs at the moment is the current daily chart, and even sadder if you got stopped out and now the market is pumping without you. So hopefully some of you guys got a couple of scalps in there, and now we need to watch and see how this is going to play out. So what I don't like about the current situation, why do I think we can go lower? I often want to see, for a bottom to hit, I want to see a big level hit. I want to see a big fib hit. For example, a 382 fib, a major horizontal, and things like that. And right now, we are not hitting that on BTC. So this is making me a little bit apprehensive, a little bit cautious as to what the situation is. Now,
hold on. What they're also not hitting is the likes. They need to hit the likes.
Guys, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell notification, and we'll carry on giving you some banging alpha here on a Friday in this bull/bear market. Okay, so what I don't like is that BTC hasn't come down and touched a major level. A major level for me is a major 382 fib pull. It's a major horizontal. So 51 to 52K is an area that I was eyeing out. I was really looking forward to a potential long off that zone earlier today, and they reversed it pretty early. Now, we have seen in the past, they often tend to front run major levels because people get a little bit excited, but we also know what do they do when they print these types of candles. We often get a situation where they come back and they revisit that candle, and then you either get some kind of double bottom or they send you to hell a little bit lower down. So this double bottom isn't off the table. Okay, so whatever you're seeing now could be just a little, a little whipsaw effect here on some of these altcoins and BTC pushing up. And the safest way you're going to play this is really just to go level by level. Now, I'm going to show you some strategies that you can use on some of these altcoins as well, and just make sure you are trading level by level. But we can't take off the table that BTC could easily reverse here and start sending this down, and then this 51, 52K would become my potential targets. What does that do with alts? Well, we're going to have to monitor how high these altcoins bounce. Now, we've had a bit of a recovery here, and we're going to see a lot of these alts are going to start pushing higher. So what does that do? If BTC starts falling over back to 51, 52, we're going to see a lot of these altcoins that are bouncing off major supports. For example, Solana, AVAX, a ton of these others that we're going to go through, they might have enough of a headway. When they fall back, they might actually hold those supports that they've settled on yesterday, and BTC might be dropping down to that 51, 52K. So we're going to be watchful of that situation, and we're going to keep our eyes on dominance as well. So there's a lot of work to do now while we watch this market and while we try and navigate our way out of it or back into it. So what am I watching now on the daily? So first step, we need to now reclaim, okay? If we're going to go level by level on this current situation, BTC needs to reclaim certain levels, okay? So number one, if we start reclaiming 56,800, if we start reclaiming this area here, then we can start looking for our next zone. What is our next zone? Our next zone is going to be that 200-day moving average. That's another TP zone. That's another target zone that you want to look at. Look out for a rejection there. Trend and 200-day MA. That could be a massive rejection zone there. That could be a huge short area as well. And then a little bit higher up, 59,845. Watch out here. This could be another massive rejection area. So what I want to remind you guys is we've got a war zone ahead of us here. Okay, so 58, call it 58,600. 59,800. These could be massive rejection zones for Bitcoin. So if you are trading longs and things like that, you want to try and tie in your TP levels with BTC at these corresponding rejection zones, because both of these rejection zones could be the start of a BTC move much lower down. Obviously and naturally, if we start breaking level by level, then we can play it area by area. We can play it, trend breaks. We can try by those retests and things like that. But until we break that trend and until we start claiming the 200-day moving average, which is massive. Let's not forget how big that is. Until we start reclaiming that, we cannot turn too bullish. We got to be disciplined here, and we got to take some profits along the way. And we actually need to take profits, hopefully live here, as long as they haven't turned over too much. We're going to look to cut some of these positions that I'm sitting in as well. Okay, dominance. Again, I've structured this dominance on the 8-hour, watching this very carefully. All you need to do is be watching your rejection zones on dominance. Where do you get this rejection? Remember, rejections on dominance feeds the altcoins. They keep the altcoins happy. Pumps on dominance favors BTC. That often hurts the altcoins. Remember, falling over BTC and a rising dominance, that's really going to hurt these altcoins. So dominance, you need to be watching closely. Watch your rejection zones. Watch your support zones. You can see we are reacting now on a potential bounce area for dominance. That tells us we could see dominance climbing, and look out on the altcoins when we do get a situation like that. So right now, dominance pushing down onto potential support. Altcoin traders, you want to see this thing just regularly and slowly just start bleeding lower, and that is going to start feeding these altcoins. I see 𝗃𝗫𝗄𝗃, Kingsley Daniel, he was hit. Guys, we were all hit. We all got slapped around. And I do have 𝗃𝗃 for you guys. I've got a 𝗃𝗃 bigger picture setup, and I've got a 15-minute setup for you guys. Hopefully that setup I've got for you is looking good. Okay, let's deal with ETH quickly. So tons of traders. You saw a massive dump in ETH as well earlier today, and we saw 3 whales put 28,000 ETH, $82 million. And they jumped it on exchanges to sell it to repay their debt. These guys were also about to get liquidated. And we saw ETH dropping into a major 382 fib. So like I was telling you with BTC, I don't like to see a bottom on BTC until we hit a major zone, and we haven't hit BTC's 382, but we've seen ETH has now hit the 382 fib. So this is quite interesting for me. Big support here on ETH, 2,860. We're watching this area closely now, and the next level, I've had to highlight this now for you guys because this is now becoming a reality. When we get a sell-off like we had yesterday, we need to start understanding where is our next big zone, what is possible here. If Bitcoin really is going to go to 40K, if Bitcoin really is going to go to some of these dark places, then we might see ETH, for example, at 2,100. So I'm just saying, have that available, have that information available. I'm not saying it is going to that level, but we need to watch that area now. 2,100, it's a big zone for ETH. And what am I expecting now? So if BTC keeps pushing higher, I'm expecting ETH to push up with BTC. But if we get a big Bitcoin rejection, we're going to keep our eyes on dominance. Dominance is going to tell us the story, and dominance, hopefully, if we do get that double bottom on BTC, we want to see these alts hold these type of levels here as well, these major areas that they are currently pinging. Remember, if these alts start losing major levels, then we are really going to start tracking to the next big ones. And we've seen this now for 2 or 3 days in a row. Alts lost big levels, and we could be in for some major pain if we start losing some of these areas. So just be cautious. We got to understand where our big levels are. I'm going to give you as many as I can now today on some of these coins. And then just with regards to this morning, I went long on ETH, and I spoke to the Sniper Club guys. We did a live Zoom earlier today, and I went long a couple of things. And one of them is 𝗃𝗃 that I've just jumped into on a scalp. I'm going to show you how and why I'm trading that now on a scalp position. And you can see ETH I'm tracking long at the moment. So no changes there for me. I'm trading this one on CoinCatch. And this is a KYC friendly exchange. You can grab the link in the description there. And ETH for me is firing. My current stop loss is just under my entry here. So my stop loss at the moment is 2861. So it's pretty much now a risk-free situation on ETH that I'm watching. And then Peppy is now a short-term little scalp. I've got the charts here for you. I'm going to show you why I'm in that at the moment. So Peppy, big picture. This is on the 12-hour. First thing we need to note, let's look at it on the daily. And first thing we need to be aware of is Peppy has actually lost a major horizontal level. So Peppy lost the 618. Peppy lost major horizontals here, and this level was multiple zeros 9. So this was our original reaction zone that we were looking at, and then it dipped a little bit lower, and it hasn't quite pinged the absolute lows that I wanted it to see. So I do have an area of interest here lower down for Peppy if we do have further weakness. Your big level now, multiple zeros, 647. This is a huge zone now for Peppy. I would expect that to be the bottom of a potential move. If things start turning over with BTC, we should see things like Peppy start rejecting in these types of areas. Even at this point, 0.9, we could get a push lower, or alternatively, here's another big area. If we get a little squeeze now out of these altcoins, that could be the next rejection zone where we could see Peppy falling over. So my strategy here is obviously very cautious here. Any areas of resistance, when we start pinging these zones, we're playing very tight stops. We're taking profits very quickly at these type of levels. And let me show you this Peppy setup. Now, you can apply this to all of your current trades that you are in. What you need to do is just zoom out and look at your daily trades, and then you can have a separate chart where you zoom in and you say, okay, this token is now moving, and how am I going to play this? And you can actually break it down onto a 15-minute candle, and you can play little breaks of horizontal, and you can play breaks of trend and things like that. And you can see what I've done here with Peppy. And I noted that Peppy was starting to put pressure on this horizontal zone, this region over here. So this is the 15 minutes. So the minute it started sticking its head out, what did I do? I jumped into a little position there and I banged my stop just under this 15-minute candle, and looking for a little bit of a bigger move. So that's exactly how I did the scalping strategy here. So the minute it started breaching that high, I banged out a stop, jumped into the position, and you can see what's happening right now. Peppy is now rejecting at our trend. So these trends on the 15 minutes, they also work, and they do tell you a story. So here is our resistance area at the moment for Peppy. What is my strategy now? What I'd like to see here, trend break, and then I'd add to that position, and then we're going to push that just to that 100-day moving average that I showed you on the bigger picture chart. That is over here, and that is at multiple zeros 100. So that is that region I'm looking at for Peppy. So in a small little scalp here, this is a pretty low risk play at the moment. My stop is multiple zeros 8380. And the idea here is if we pull back, we hold that level, and hopefully then start running, we break that trend and we push a little bit higher. So little scalping strategy here for these things. You can obviously play the smaller stuff level by level. And, once you get some kind of breakout candle, you can just put that stop under that breakout candle. If they are going to come back and smash that candle, well, at least then your risk is limited to, just that 15-minute candle and things like that. But obviously you want to be strategic about it, and you want to make sure these things are shaping up for potential pops and things like that. So Peppy is just a typical little breakout that I like to see. And remember, we get this horizontal pressure on these things, and eventually they pop. So you just grab your trend and you look for that little pop there, pop, retest, and then go. And that is the current trading strategy there on Peppy. So we'll see how that plays out now. And you can see my stop there is in place as well. Now, let's look at Solana. Okay, the big dog. Now, we had two levels here yesterday for you guys. Number one was 128 to 130, where we got that initial reaction, and it felt like we were going to get a nice little bounce there on Sol. And then obviously these guys came out and they dumped everything on us, but we did hit our second reaction zone, so Sol for 120. And what am I watching now? So now we've got two key support levels here for Sol. And, when do things turn super bearish? Well, it's got to be when we start losing this major level here, this 120 to 118. When we start losing that area, then we know for a fact, based on Sol's performance against BTC is getting dark, BTC is getting deadly, and we are going sub 52 and that type of thing. So right now, for me, Solana traders, if you're sitting in a Sol position, your key support now that we've reclaimed here is 128 to 130. Okay, so if you're sitting in a position here, that is your first line of support that you're going to be watching. 128 to 130. This was a 618 pool previously. You can see we've had a massive response on this region here, and I would watch that as key support now. 128 to 130. If that's going to hold this weekend on pullbacks, you might get some kind of run here out of the market. And then what else are we looking at? A little bit higher up, I've got the 50-day MA. That's going to be a resistance band for you that you're going to be watching. 155. And then the next big dog that we need to clear. Now, this is huge. Okay, so right now, let's just clear this thing a little bit. Okay, right now, Sol is pushing into the 200-day moving average. So it's quite easy to expect some kind of rejection here from Solana at this 200-day MA. So the bulls, what do you want to see? If we do get a rejection here at the 200-day MA, the bulls, you want to see 128 to 130 hold. That is how you want to play this thing here if it's going to remain bullish this weekend. If we start losing that level, you got to look once again, double bottom here, 120, 118, somewhere in that area for you. And right now, 200-day MA, when we clear that level, 136. Okay, that becomes your next support level that you can play with. So then you can keep tight stops under that 200-day MA. So right now, level 1 was 120 to 118 stop loss. Now we've broken 128 to 130. That's your next stop zone. Once you break the 200-day MA, that's your next stop zone. So you can just stick a stop just under that 136. So I would say just under 136.5, maybe 136 could be a very tight stop there once Sol does start clearing that 200-day MA. But until then, resistance zone, TP zone, look for rejections, those type of things. We've got to play this one tight. We've got to play these ones safe. Another one for you guys is AVAX on the weekly. Now, this head and shoulders eventually started playing out properly. Okay, so we've been faced with these head and shoulders, Link, IMX, all these other tokens for the last few weeks. And at one point, AVAX was actually looking relatively bullish. We were actually at one point eyeing out a little pop of this region here. And then they came and they sold us. But what have they pinged? They've pinged 20 to 22. This was a major weekly support zone that we were looking at for a very long time. This was always going to be a big zone for us. So 20 to 22 now, this is our real test. If we do get that BTC pullback that I'm talking about and BTC wants to come back to visit those lows, we're looking for a double bottom play here on AVAX. I would expect that to hold. So if BTC is coming back to 51K, 52K, I would expect the fact that these alts have now pumped pretty well. I would expect them to hold this type of support here for the second bite. Now, that would obviously make the assumption that BTC is bottoming at 51, 52K. So that is how we're going to have to play that one. But AVAX for me, 20 to 22, massive zone here for AVAX traders if you're in the position. And remember, if you are now looking for scalps, you know the drill now. I've shown you on Peppy. I'm going to show you Rune just now as well. You want to bang out trends on those 15 minutes and you want to play them level by level there, and just make sure that you are safe and your levels are clear so you understand where you need to exit if things start falling over. Another one I've got for you guys is CAS, and this was CAS on the daily. Now again, super bullish token. We know the story. They are going to sort out their project at some point. That chain will come alive again after that big fanfare, and then it all fell over. But nice little recovery from CAS, and a very typical little rising trend got pinged here, and now we've got a very strong bounce. So your big support here, number one, is going to be 0.148. Now this, I'd like to see this region hold if BTC does start pulling back. But what do I like for it right now? We have reclaimed 0.16. So if you are sitting in a CAS position right now, you can see 0.16 is a nice big support that you can now use for this weekend. Okay, you want this thing to hold 0.16. It's going to stay bullish if we can hold this area here and then look for something along those lines. So look out there, 0.16. I'm loving that as potential support. If we are going to fall over here, you got to zoom out and you got to take a look at these lows again for another visit. 0.148, 0.149. That has got to be pretty much the expectation on some of these altcoins. Now, you'll remember when we had that dump in April, we had a massive pump afterwards. They came and they flushed us out in April. We hit major weekly levels. All these altcoins pumped up. And then what happened over the next few weeks? They came back down and they resettled, and we double bottomed on all of those levels. And there was tons of pain. So now when we're seeing these candles again, just learn from experience. Again, it doesn't always happen the same way, but it does kind of rhyme sometimes. So where we've seen this before, we've had a pump, they come back and they come and close out some of those wicks before. So don't think that they can't come and do this. Just make sure in your planning that you are aware that they can come and flush out these candles. Ray, do you think I'm making myself clear?
I think it's pretty clear. Like, we're probably going to double bottom, guys. We'll probably double bottom.
Just
or maybe
be careful. Okay. You don't want to get caught in euphoria because we've had a little bit pump and one or two people saying that that's the bottom now. We need to just play safe every single time. And I see Mag says the Bulls are locked in their pen. I agree. They have been pretty much locked away here. Let's see. Base Reality says markets closed for the weekend. Watch out for Monday. What else we got? It's 𝗲𝗓𝗔𝗟, bro. The best performer of the day. Celestia. Okay, I might have a Celestia scalp running. I'll show you guys just now. Okay, here's a couple of trades. I'm trading on ZoomX at the moment. Also, another great exchange. Guys, there's so many cool exchanges. The links are in the description here. They're all KYC friendly. They're offering you great deals at the moment. And one of my bangers here today is Popcat. Okay, look at this thing. It was a tiny position. And you can see now it's reversing. So I'm actually going to take profit here. So I'm going to market close Popcat. And then we're going to look at this chart. Okay, there. I'm closing Popcat there. I'm banking some profits there. And you can see I'm sitting in DYDX. I'm going to tell you about that one shortly. I'm sitting in Sol and I'm sitting in CAS. Okay, so we're going to cover that. Well, CAS you've seen. Look at Popcat. Okay, so, I mean, this thing's an absolute savage. And this thing came back on the 8 hour and dipped into a 786 and horizontal. Now, this is I mean, obviously, these meme coins we know. When the market turns bullish, what recovers quickly? Meme coins. Peppy, Bonk, Whiff, Popcat, all these types of memes. As unfortunate as it is, as much as you hate meme coins, remember, these are the ones that recover the quickest when we do have some kind of market reaction. But also, the converse is these guys dump the hardest when things are looking bearish. So, we got to take the good with the bounce. Glenn says, beware of the dead cat bounce. Agree. Okay, so I've taken profits here on Popcat. You can see why. It's just a massive candle. If this thing is going to stay bullish, very simple game plan now. That was a brutal candle that we just saw. But Popcat now, 0.4. Okay, so let this thing do what it needs to do. If you want to have a go at Popcat, the best play for me, especially on the 8 hours, got to be lower. It's got to be a retest at 0.4 and this 50-day MA. So now it's good. We've broken the 50-day MA. That is great. We can use that as a support marker potentially now on any pullbacks there for Popcat. So 0.14. I would watch that area closely. And then, of course, you can dial in. Same situation here with all these altcoins. What you can do is you dial in and you grab your 15-minute trends and you get a picture as to what is actually unfolding in front of you. And that often helps you with much tighter stops, especially in these types of conditions, because I'm not here to leave massive stops now in these type of conditions. We've been slapped around the last couple of days as well. So Popcat, zoomed in 15 minutes, that sort of thing. You can see we are at horizontal resistance. Okay, so you can see this is a resistance zone. That's a rejection area. Okay, so that's a typical take profit area. Now again, it doesn't mean it doesn't travel any further, but these are the areas you need your discipline. These are the areas where you do get these reactions and these things get sent lower down. So Popcat for me, let's see if we can get some other scalper entries other than that 50-day MA that we're looking at. And simple little strategy here. Fibs from the low to the high. You want to get out your 382, you want to get out your 618, and you want to just look at your interim levels. Now, this is why I'm loving this lower region here for Popcat, and that 0.4. It's your 618 fib, and it's your 50-day MA, and it's your horizontal. So 0.4, that is your big one for Popcat. If you do get a bleed out here on Popcat, next sort of bullish zone you can play at is your 382 fib. So areas to watch, 44 and 40. Okay, so a little bleed out here. Look for that potential move on Popcat. Bleed out there. Look for that potential move on Popcat. Both of these could offer you some kind of bullish bounces. And look, play it safe here. Now is not an entry. Okay, bottom line, there's no entry here on Popcat right now. And 𝗲𝗓𝗟, really, this Celestia it's a problem for me. Okay, let's talk DYDX. And I believe we spoke about this on the show, right? Did I talk about DYDX on the show this week, or was it on a Sniper Club session?
I'm not sure about on the show. Maybe
okay.
Sniper Club.
Okay, sorry. We do Zoom sessions with Sniper Club. We cover a lot of these charts, and DYDX is obviously one of them that we've been watching for. I mean, we've lost attention on this thing because it's just been falling over these DEXs, GMX, DYDX. But we had to note DYDX has dropped onto an absolutely major weekly support level, and when I saw that today, for me, it was an opportunity to look and sniff around at some kind of long. So DYDX, the last few times we've hit the zone, we've had some interesting moves. The first time we hit that, we had 150% move. The second time we hit that, we had 160% move. And I mean, you can see the story, you can see the drill. Yeah, it's 216%. And this just looked like a solid area. Now, we did have a situation once when Link hit a major level like this, and they actually sent Link a little bit lower before sending this thing up. So there's a couple of things. Yeah, I'm long DYDX. My stop is under this weekly candle, okay, this current candle, but I am planning for some kind of move lower. If they are going to send us lower, I'm looking for some kind of stop hunt where they did the exact same thing with us to Link. They just dropped it a little bit lower and they sent it higher from there. So DYDX, my point I'm making here, great solid area here. 1 to 1.2, no, not 1.2, 1 to 1.1. Great solid zone here, great weekly zone here. This could be a DCA area for you guys. This could be a margin play in this area that you could pay attention to. So just looking good, looking for a move here on DYDX. Upside potential. First zone has got to be the highs of that candle, 1.4. Next zone has got to be about 1.7. So there's a couple of little small, short-term small moves here, potentially for DYDX, looking at 1.4 and 1.7. But support for me, that is the low of this current weekly candle. Okay, so we're at the absolute lows, and be prepared for a dip back to this level. Be prepared for a stop hunt lower down. Let me actually show you that Link chart quickly, just to give you guys that example. Okay, here's Link at the lows, and this is exactly what they did. They dropped Link into an area that looked impenetrable. I mean, this was a massive weekly area for Link, and a typical little move here, and they came and they grabbed everyone underneath, and then they sent it all the way up. So look out for something like that on DYDX. Another one as well that you can look out at, I'll get to that one shortly, is PYR. That could be another one that is looking very similar. And then Toncoin. Ton is back in the mix. Okay, and just like that, they've pinged it off a solid zone, and they've absolutely sent this thing. So yeah, if you're trading Ton now, a difficult game now, because now we've got a couple of areas here. We've got a situation, number one, your 382 has been reclaimed. So we got to say, for now, we've got to assume that is support for now, 6.88. Okay, 6.88 is support. If we do push there, look for some kind of bounce. But what does that bounce look like? It could be that rejection back for this double bottom play. So there's a potential plan here on Ton that is starting to make way here. So look for an interim pullback, bounce on about 6.88, and then we're looking at potentially, moving over and turning this thing over to complete this double bottom. So, it's nice that we got a massive pump here, but we've seen this movie before, and often these wicks get filled. So if you are trading Ton, exercise a little bit of caution here. Key supports, 6.88. Lower down, 6.44. Both of these are potential areas of interest now on the next move down, from BTC that you're going to be watching. And then Rune. I did give you guys this Rune one the other day. I actually said it's not ready yet. I think it was yesterday. I said we're waiting for Rune to go lower, and I wasn't happy with where it was sitting. I said I was looking at 3.1, and in the dead of the night, they came and they gave us 3.1 on Rune, and now that is an area of interest. Okay, so now we finally hit a massive zone. You can see the size of these weekly candles in this region, and support, and look at these resistance candles here where that acted as resistance. And now interesting area here for Rune on the weekly. So I've jumped into a Rune position, and I'm going to show you how I scalped that as well on the 15 minutes shortly. But I'd like to see Rune hold now on the next pullback on BTC. I'd love to see 3.1 hold here for us. If we are going to lose it, then we're going to go deep. We're going to go very deep and dark here on Rune, and they're going to take us back to places we haven't seen since October 23, and we're most likely going to visit that type of zone lower down. So look out for that. If you are in Rune, put your stop under the current weekly, okay, the current candle low, that is 3.1. And if we do go lower, we're looking at 2. That is your next level. Bogdan, I know you're watching this, and I know Bogdan is trading Rune at the moment, and 2 is got to be your next potential bounce zone. And just another notable thing, you saw ETH dropped perfectly onto that 382 fib. Look how perfectly Rune dropped onto this fib here. Was it the 786? We'll check now. But look how perfectly it pinged this fib. And all I did there was pull a fib from the absolute lows to the highs, and this thing gets respected even on these massive time frames here. And that is a 786 fib, giving us the reaction we want there on Rune. And here's the scalper setup that I gave Sniper Club earlier today. And there were two strategies here. There's two entries here. So when you're uncertain in the market, what you can do is you can nibble around at these lows. When you see these lows appear on some of these tokens, you can nibble around in that area. Then they inevitably start pushing higher. They start pumping higher, and you get to the next zone. And the next zone is typically your trend. Okay, so we do have a trend in the way now, and you can see Rune is now struggling at trend resistance, and the next potential move now, and this is the conundrum traders face. Okay, especially leverage traders. This is our regular conundrum. Okay, we got a little entry at the lows. Okay. Now, what do? We can see Rune is now pushed into resistance band. Do we take profit here? Do we close this thing completely? Or do we sit back and do we say, okay, well, maybe this one is going to break the trend? So for this specific example here today, I've had a couple of scalps on the go. So I've taken profit on a few of my trades already. And it hasn't just been a single trade. So for this one, I'm looking to leave this one now open for another trend break on Rune. I want to see this thing push a little bit harder. So I've taken profits on some other trades, got a nice little balance here. And Rune is a potential runner that we can maybe grow as we go. So what am I watching now? What am I looking for? So very simple plan. And this is now plan B for anyone who got this one in Sniper Club. We are now moving into plan B, and that is the trend break, the retest. We're going to look for an entry in that box, and then we want to send that one a little bit higher there on Rune. And very simple game plan. When they do break the trend and they come and retest, you can see your stop zone is going to be roughly 3.3 at that new entry. And those of you that took it from the lows, well, you can raise your stop now. You can bring your stop up to your entry and leave this one absolutely risk-free. So if this one does break trend, it's a nice little runner that you can add to. But, you're not going to come back and get stopped out and actually lose anything on this one. So when you see these big areas again, you nibble at the lows, and I've tried to explain this, over the year or whatever that I've been doing this show for you guys. But these big levels, they're often your best areas, your best entries, where you're buying these big areas when there's total fear. That's these big zones where you can nibble around and you can get starter positions. Then they start moving up, and then you can pull out your trends. You play the trend break. Remember, the secondary entry is always that trend break and retest. And then the third type of entry is when we're hitting TP1 and everyone's pitching up to watch the show. That's always the third entry that you potentially get on a trade setup. And then they turn it over and they start it all over again. So there's the Rune plan. And now this is applicable to pretty much 90% of the tokens you guys are probably trading out there as well. I've just given you guys a couple of examples here of what I've been playing around with today, but very simple strategy here. Grab them at the lows, then bang out the trends, and then play the, it's if you've got the screen time, you can play that 15-minute game, especially when things are super sensitive like they are at the moment. And we got to be very, very careful. So basically alerts, full level alerts are on. We're not going to fall for this trap. And we're going to play the game. I see Glenn's looking at render at 5.8. Okay, what other charts do we got? I've got Injective for you guys. So here's another one. And Injective on the weekly. And another example of a token pinging a high impact zone here. This was Injective dropping into a massive weekly zone. And here's our big support level. So ideally, you want to see Injective now reclaim this area nicely and start holding this region. So anything down to, say, 18 would be okay for some kind of pullback here on Injective, as long as we get that candle close above this, say, 18 level this weekend, then we should be okay on Injective. If we start closing below the 18 level, that is going to tell me a story. That's telling us that we potentially then coming down to this 14 level. And it's as simple as looking at two massive weekly levels and trying to figure out, where this thing is going to be going. So Injective for me, if this candle closes below 18 this weekend, 14 is going to be your next area. If the candle closes above, there's hope, okay, that this thing can start grinding higher. So again, zoomed out play here, and I see James is shouting Brett and Bonk at us. Okay, let's look at Brett and Bonk quickly. Absolute rippers, guys. A reminder again: after weakness, meme coins, they deliver. Okay, let's go bonk on the 4 hour. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, looking good. So same story as Popcat. Okay, we've had a nice push now. We've broken a key area. What is the key area that we've broken? We've broken the 200-day moving average. Now, this was a big support for us previously. Look at the reaction we had off that 200-day MA previously. Now they've bled us out. We've broken back. If you're trading bonk or you're looking for an entry on bonk, your safest entry has got to be this dip back into this zone here. So for me, 215, if you get a dip into 215, that's going to give you your tightest stop loss opportunity. Okay, for the bulls, that's your tightest stop opportunity there if you're looking for a bounce. And then your targets are the 100-day moving average, 253, and the 50-day moving average, 276. Okay, those are your potential targets. And remember, you're looking for scalps here. You don't want to you don't want to round trip here, guys, please. Okay, so look at 215, 214, big support here. Watch that area there. And let's look at Brett. Okay, also interesting for Brett. It looks like we got a 50-day moving average break as well. Okay, let's just get some information here. Okay, look at that. Okay, so Brett, we need to get Brett back into this range here. Okay, we want to just see it really hold this region here. So Brett, exactly the same as bonk, actually, for that matter. I would say look for this retest of the 50-day MA. Look at that, 382, very nice. Okay, so look for that. Okay, if you're holding 117, if you're holding 1174, then you are holding this range low. Okay, then you are back in this potential region here, and that could potentially open something up for you. So if you're holding that area, then you should start making your way a little bit higher up. And then you see, it depends on the fun we're going to have this weekend, but you could be looking at something along those lines for Brett. So 50-day moving average, 0.117. Look for that to hold. That's a big level now. Yeah, that's your one. That's your one, James. God of Degen is talking about celeb tokens. Do we even do those? Let's see what else we got. Glenn says, sound the bear bell. Actually, somebody made me a bear bell. Somebody made me a bear bell. I got to get it on. I got to get it on my system here. Okay, guys.
We should have went short. Whenever you get that bear bell, we should have just went short.
Ray, was there a short opportunity?
Whenever you got the bear bell, was the short opportunity?
Well, somebody sent me a bear bell, and in fact, the timing was absolutely perfect because the market did fall over. Okay, guys, you've got the plan. You know what to do. Okay, you know your downside levels on BTC on the 15 minutes. I've given you degen levels here. You know your exact reaction levels that we need to deal with this weekend. If we blow through all of those levels, then we're cooking. Okay, watch out that 200-day MA with these altcoins that you've seen, the ones that have cracked the 50-day MA, the ones that have cracked the 200-day MA. Look for those as your next support markers. Solana, still got to catch up, still got to blow the 200-day MA. When we break that, that is your next support level. You can go level by level here. And bears, remember, this is your party. Okay, so 200-day MA on Sol could be a nice rejection zone for you. If you bearish, that's your short zone. If you bearish, you're shorting at massive resistance zones. Bitcoin, 200-day moving average, look for a short there. If you are feeling aggressive and bearish, we can send that thing to zero. Remember, these things work both ways, support, resistance. They can give you both scenarios there. So you've got your plan, guys. Really good luck this weekend. Don't get rinsed. Okay, look out for these double bottoms. We know the game. They do this all the time. And level by level, please take care of yourselves. I don't want to hear stories. I don't want to hear bad stories this coming Monday. I'll see you on Sunday, actually. I'll do a session on Sunday later.